Massage therapists and customers, what was your strangest experience during the process? I'm a male companion for hire and give special massages. My prices are very high compared to a regular massage, and no one can really mistake what you're buying. Also, the website I advertise on is full of undressed buff dudes, so there's really no confusion. Well, one day I receive a call from a man asking if I'm available. He said he'd like a massage at his office in the middle of downtown. I didn't think much of this as I've done this kink for a few people before. They normally run a small business and nobody is there at that time of night. Innocent enough. But this guy requested it to be at lunch and gave me the address to a bustling building. When I arrived, it was filled with people in a beautiful open space office. I brought my massage table and people were making light conversation with me thinking I'm a legit masseuse. This was way out of my comfort zone. I'm used to dealing with pervy guys in dim-lit rooms, not talking to Karen and her friends interested in booking a massage. When I finally met the guy, he led me through to a maze of people and departments. Everyone was staring as I was dressed like a man-ho, while everyone else was in business attire. Tank top, grey sweats, and no underwear. Gotta dress the part, you know? He leads me to an open room that had been converted into a massage area, meaning there's no doors, just a paper curtain divider that blocks the view from his co-workers. I started the massage and was thinking, he can't possibly think I would do anything here, right? This is insane. After 30 minutes, I get a sense that something is off. I'd glide my hands to more intimate areas, but he keeps talking casually. Most guys would pop a tent, or ask to be massaged near their groin, or start touching my junk. But he was talking about his wife and daughters. I immediately asked him how he found out about me. He told me it was a recommendation from one of his friends, then started going on about his relationship with this guy and how they have a very strong friendship and that they would constantly prank each other. I froze and my heart dropped. This guy thinks this is a legit massage. This was supposed to be a prank that somehow got way too advanced without any party knowing. Hence why I'm in the middle of a tech office and he's so nonchalant about everything. I immediately went real masseuse and focused on his knots for the remainder of the time. He paid me my ridiculous fee and made a small comment about it being expensive for a massage, but it was good and convenient. I was beyond terrified as I was seconds away from doing some highly inappropriate things to this man right in the middle of his office, feet from his co-workers. This is my most eerie experience I've had yet. What's the strangest experience during the massage process? The one where the guy didn't try to do the deed with me. Did you level with him after and explain what you were actually there for? It seems like that would have been a great way to get an extra tip or something. I know I would have really appreciated knowing about that. No, I thought it might be way too embarrassing for him, especially at work. Instead, I really tried to give him the best massage possible and speak nothing of this. Until now. That is brilliant. I would have gently let him know at the end, or perhaps the client, blissfully unaware, recommended this gentleman onward at his usual rates and everyone profited. Not a massage therapist, but my dad is, and this is one of his favorite stories. When his clients come in, he gives them a list of Pandora stations to choose from for the session. A client comes in one day and picks 50s jazz, so like Ella Fitzgerald and stuff. The thing about some of these women from the 50s, some of their songs were not so subtly raunchy. One comes in and it's about a woman asking her lover when he's coming home, but she's singing lines like, "When are you gonna come? I can't wait for you to come. Come for me, baby. I love it when you come for me." He's in the middle of working on this woman's glutes when the song comes on and pauses to see if she's awake. She hasn't said anything for a while, so he figures she's just gone to sleep. It's a pain to stop what he's in the middle of working on, walk over to the phone and wipe all the massage oil from his fingers just to skip the song, so he makes a mental note to remove it from the playlist and keeps working. A few minutes later, when the song reaches its climax of a woman begging her lover to come, his massage bottle runs out of oil. Not a problem, he always keeps a spare on his hip because this happens. The thing is, sometimes when the bottle is being filled up, a bubble of air gets caught in the tube inside and it comes out with the first pump. He goes to pump the oil into his hand, and a mixture of oil and air comes out with a loud splooge sound, like a cartoonish imitation of a man reaching completion. He freezes, one hand on the pump and the other on this woman's butt. She didn't react, so again he thinks she's probably asleep. Then her entire body starts shaking with laughter. They're both laughing so hard they need to take a break from the massage to compose themselves. Thank God she was chill and found it just as funny as he did. I had a very eccentric, read creepy as frick client who came into our clinic one day wanting a Tui Na massage, type of Chinese massage. We usually leave the room to let the clients strip down into underwear before we commence, but with this guy I had no chance to get away. Before I had time to give him the towel, he dropped his pants to reveal a sparkling blue G-string that barely kept everything in place. The guy was about 58, huge beer gut, grey hair, gold earrings, and hairy like Robin Williams. As I started the massage, the guy started to tell me that he worked as a bedroom masseuse specializing in body slide massage. This is where the masseuse gets oiled up and rubs his body and fun bits all over before doing the deed with the client at the end. The whole time I was massaging him, he kept telling me that I was really good with my hands. He also repeatedly told me how good he was at his job and plugging his business with a hinting tone. A very awkward session.
I enjoy a good butt massage, but I don't enjoy the amount of focus it takes to keep it at half-mast, at most for 90 minutes, instead of enjoying the massage so the undies stay on the bundies.
I'm a licensed massage therapist. Seriously, let yourself relax. We've seen it all and we don't judge. Yes, whenever I see this happen to someone, I might get a little excited too because we're all human. But because I'm a licensed massage therapist, it's my responsibility and profession to ignore all indecent but natural aspects and continue to focus on the fundamental muscles during the massage. We're all human. Massage is obviously a delicate topic, so when we establish the expectations and boundaries before the massage begins, everyone can feel safe and know exactly what will and won't happen. I can never do this relaxing thing. I always decline any glute and thigh workout out of guilt. There's no problem with that. Professionally trained licensed massage therapists will never touch you anywhere you don't want to be touched. We discuss the full parameters of the session before the session begins. No surprises, just relaxation. It's common to have difficulty relaxing, and that's why it's recommended to book a 90-minute or 120-minute massage, because people often don't begin to relax until 45 minutes into the session. This is a therapeutic human touch. It's safe, it's beneficial. Every human needs human touch, and the client has full control over everything. Massage therapists are professionally trained to respect every client, make you feel safe and comfortable, never do anything you don't want to do. I had a guy tell me, "Stop teasing, you know exactly what you're doing, don't start me up and not finish." Studying to be licensed, but I volunteer my services at a harm reduction clinic. From 7 through 9 p.m. I work at a massage palace as the receptionist. People used to come in all the time to ask how much massages were, and usually that was the extent of the conversation. One day a bloke walked in and asked how much the massages were, so I told him. Then he asked me in an overly friendly voice if I did the massages. I naively plowed on with, "No, not me, they're done by..." When my boss walked out of the consultation room he'd been in with a client and said, "I do the massages, can I help you?" The guy looked instantly sheepish and couldn't get out the door fast enough. My boss said he'd overheard the guy ask if I did the massages and knew something wasn't right. Told me that if that ever happened again, to just say I would get the masseur for him and walk out. I'm so glad your boss was awesome, to be honest. Yeah, he was a good guy all round. He said they don't come in often, but you get the odd one. All 3 masseurs were men and they were all nice guys, so I was well looked after. What a gross weirdo. Look, as the first story indicated, more intimate masseurs do exist, but don't go in expecting if it's not advertised, folks. I do home visits. I'm a male masseur, by the way. Had a particular client 3 times. Usually I have clients stripped down to their undies. The second session, he got undressed, but I didn't think much of it as he seemed okay. At the end of the third session, as I was massaging his neck while he's on his back, he just started cranking it. I was kind of shocked in the moment and didn't know what to do. He reached for my hand as if to get me to finish him off, and at that point I stood up and said I've got to go. Was fairly awkward waiting for him to get dressed so I could pack my table and get my money and leave. I've had a couple of incidents in my 5 years. Female therapists would have it much worse. Sucks that massage is associated with that sort of thing because I really like helping people overcome aches and mobility issues, but it's hard to advertise without getting calls from guys wanting their eggplant tugged. My girlfriend is an LAC and this dude used to come in and get acupuncture and crank it during the session. It never had anything to do with her and he never asked her help or anything. He just needed to be getting needled while he was doing it. He paid her a lot more than her usual sessions and apparently had trouble getting off otherwise. He is almost 40 years her senior and I've heard their sessions before. He truly just needed acupuncture to get off. She was never super comfortable with it, but it was good money, and eventually we didn't need that money, so she put a stop to it. He was totally respectful of that too. He never made a move and was always communicating very openly and honestly about what he needed. Pretty nice guy, if not a bit strange. He needed acupuncture to get off. What a prick. I live in China, and despite this idea of happy endings places, they're getting harder and harder to find in Shanghai, thank God. Massages here are as normal as going bowling or going for a coffee. It's fantastic, and I have at least 2 a month. Nothing more lovely than a 90-foot massage. I usually fall asleep.
What's a 90-foot massage in metric units?
They parade 45 Chinese ladies down your back.
Or occasionally 15 old women using walkers.
Nothing more lovely than a 27 1/3 of AmITheA massage. I usually fall asleep. You can submit your own stories to be featured here on the channel. The story submission link is in the description below. And if you want to listen to some vibey music in the background, check out easymode, also linked below, and subscribe. My parents own a spa that I used to work at. I have a crap ton of stories, but here's a goodie. At one point, we had 2 male massage therapists. Now, I worked in the call center, and before booking a massage, we'd always clarify if the client was comfortable seeing a male massage therapist, as we had a majority female clientele. But one day, this male client booked a massage for himself with our male therapist, Ed. He was a new client and actually requested a male. Whatever. Guy goes in for his appointment, and the first half is normal. The guy is undressed on the table with a blanket covering his lower half. First half of the massage, he's on his stomach. Then Ed tells him to go ahead and flip over on his back to continue. This fricker flips over and hands Ed a wad of cash from who knows where, saying, "That's for you," and starts to feed the goose. Ed promptly said, "Alright, your appointment is done, they'll take care of you at the front desk," and books it out of there. The guy pays and leaves with no problem. Here's the kicker. Ed never told my parents, a manager, nothing. We only found out through work gossip. But because we didn't know about this creep, the guy ended up calling and scheduling another appointment with Ed. We found out shortly after booking the scoop, and the guy was asked to not come back. The spa's a pretty upscale place in the triple-digit price range, so not sure if the guy just thought we were an expensive spa with a side hustle or a really cheap brothel. They'll take care of you at the front desk.
Well, this is a strange joint.
Walks over to the front desk with his junk out. I get a call from my friend one night. Her boss wants a massage, and she recommended me. Since he's my friend's boss, I don't really worry too much, and head over to this dude's place with my gear. When I first come in and have everything set up, the guy offers me a Vegas bomb. I pass, and the massage starts as normal. Everything is going normal. This guy was Indian, I think, and was saying how this is great. He would recommend me to all his friends and stuff. But about halfway through, I hear, "Do you do happy ending?" My hands just froze. No one had ever asked me that before. My friends make jokes and all, but I'd never had this conversation with the client seriously asking this. The conversation goes like this. "Do you do a happy ending?" No. "Why not?" "Because that's disgusting and unprofessional." "I'll pay extra." "We're done here." I stopped the massage, packed up my gear, told him to pay the full price and left. Once I was home, I called up my friend to tell her what a creep her boss was. She started laughing her butt off. Apparently he had asked her if I did happy endings, and she thought he was joking and joked back yes.
Comparing to the other posts in this thing, at least he asked.
I was previously a certified massage therapist and nothing creepy or raunchy. I've been physically attracted to clients before, but it's drilled into your head that this is absolutely not the setting to pursue this. There was maybe one odd thing that isn't at all odd, but was similarly distracting to me. I always drape the client so the top of the sheet is up to their armpits. So guys, and girls obviously, have their chests covered. This one guy though kept folding the sheet down to just under his chest. I'd keep moving him and adjusting the sheet, but he would eventually fold it back down. The edge of the sheet perfectly underlined his moobs, and I just kept getting distracted by them. They were like 2 eyes staring at me.
I have a rare medical condition where I breathe through my chest. I once had a massage therapist repeatedly try to suffocate me.
I wonder if the chest had a particularly chiseled set of pecs and thought that they needed to be admired by the world. Although it's more likely a sensitivity thing, right? My wife and I were at a small resort in Costa Rica. When we go on vacations, she always gets massages, but I never do. This time we decided to get a couple's massage. We get in the room, and the 2 are waiting for us by each table. She had this Latin love god, and I got a cute girl in her early 30s. They tell us to take off our clothes and give us these little paper undies, and then leave the room. The room was nice. It had a little fountain with some foliage and some soothing sound from speakers. We each looked at the paper undies and laughed and decided to forego them. It just seemed too silly. They started the massage and it felt good. She'd stretch my arm and then start working it, first going over it lightly, then gradually getting harder. The time came to do my butt. She moved the towel down and started massaging my cheeks, then the inside of my cheeks, which I thought was odd, but I'm new to the massage world and maybe that's what a deep tissue massage was. At this time I'm starting to feel, not relaxed but insecure. I suddenly became aware of my wife next to me who sounds more than relaxed. Meanwhile, back at my butt, she was doing the inside of the cheeks well. I'd hoped this was the last spot she'd do there. The last thing I want is butt cheek sweat rubbed all over my body. Then she started to press down on my actual butthole. I felt pressure building up behind her thumb. I clench, and I clench like I've never clenched before. I spin around and say very politely, "Thank you for the massage." My wife, "Our spa time isn't up yet," and I told her we have to go now. I told my wife what happened, and she laughed at me and said, "Only to you." And now this is her favorite story to tell. Wife, do you remember that time we went on vacation and that cute girl finger blasted you in your turd cutter? Why must you bring that up every Thanksgiving? Someone I know, they're female, said that while doing a Brazilian wax on a male, he arrived. She just wiped it up and remained professional. I don't know how. I mean, you can't control stuff like that, it's biology. So long as he was apologetic about it and not creepy, I don't see this being a big deal. I have a friend who is a licensed massage therapist and has been studying medicine and been around doctors for much of his life. One of his sessions with a regular female client, while she was face down and he was in front of her, by her head, working on her back, she reached up and grabbed his butt. He asked what she was doing and she said, "Sorry, I don't know, I couldn't help myself." He told her not to do that again and the rest of the session continued as normal. At the end of the session, he got her a glass of water and as he turned around to leave, she grabbed his butt again. She apologized and seemed genuinely upset and embarrassed and insisted that she just couldn't help herself. My friend ponders for a moment before doing a peripheral vision check on her. Her vision is way below what is normal. The massage therapist calls the client's husband and suggests that they go see a doctor, because there might be something wrong with her impulse control and vision, suggesting it might be some sort of frontal lobe problem. Sure enough, a few days later she had an MRI and there was a tumor developing in her frontal lobe. Glioblastoma, I think. I forget the exact medical language he used. It was removed and she's doing fine now. Believe me or not, I had a massage with a girl once and she was new. Before I flipped over from my stomach, she whispers, "Anything else I can do or focus on before you turn over?" Based on the place being one of the most popular places nationwide, I figured she meant it in a strictly professional manner. I said no, I turned over and she massaged my legs, no problems. But when she does my arms, she rests my hands on her chest slightly, and I had to think about my grandma so hard to keep from getting in trouble. We finished the massage and I left. I rescheduled and got her again a few weeks later, and she had changed up her style to rest my arm on her rolling chair for that. So someone must have mentioned something. When I was in school, I'd place an ad for in-home services as a means for getting me more practice and also to make some extra cash on the side. I did this while working 40 hours a week and going to school 10 hours a day on my days off. It was a pretty exhausting few months. Because I went to people's homes, I had some pretty specific steps about how I screened clients, being very clear about what services I was giving. It's a relaxation massage booked by the hour. I bring my table and you're fully draped up during this. Most people that were looking for something more were pretty upfront and rarely pushy, but I ended up with some good clients that were just busy or traveled into town regularly and didn't have time to visit a spa. One Friday, I was home in the evening and laying down for a nap when my phone rang with someone looking to book an appointment. I gave them the spiel about what I offered and prices, and he asked if he could get a massage without the blanket. Some people ask this, so I always liked to bring up how cold someone tends to get during a massage. The draping is for privacy. If you get overheated, I can just drape your waist, etc. When they hear this, most people got the point or were understanding. He was mildly fussy about the sheet, so I offered draping his waist with a towel. He responded saying this was fine, but I could. The phone started breaking up. I checked to see if he was still there. He was. We just hit a bad reception patch, no big deal. I confirmed the time and place and set the appointment for around 8 p.m. When I arrived at the client's townhouse, I woke up and I heard loud music playing. All I'm thinking of is that I hope he can hear me as I knock on the door, which opened to blast my ears with smooth R&B and revealed an old white man wearing a sleeveless coral shirt with ruffles. It looked like something an older woman would pick up from Walmart to dress casually in. I think nothing of it. Who am I to judge what weird clothes this guy wants to wear? And walk in, also noticing he's not wearing pants. Okay, whatever, he's Donald ducking around his apartment getting ready for a massage. But he's clearly wearing some kind of undies, so I don't acknowledge it. As I set up my table, focusing on my work rather than his odd attire, I make polite conversation. As I'm ready to go, I say that I need to change the music so I can focus and he can relax, and that I'll wash my hands. While I do that, he can climb onto the table and get under the towel on his back. This is when I turn to change the CD in his player, and I can see out of the corner of my eyes, as he took off the top, that he's wearing underneath the frilliest pair of lacy panties. This is not the most normal of situations, but I think I have two options. 1. This guy is a weirdo pervert and wants to get a reaction out of me for wearing something shocking. 2. This guy is into wearing ladies' clothing and this is how he gets to be in private. No matter what the actual answer, my best course of action is to not acknowledge his attire and go about the session. I worked through, did my routine as normal while he was on his back and focused on my work. For the most part, it was pretty standard massage, though I did have to fight the compulsion to flip the tag of his panties back inside his underwear, lest I call attention to them. But when I did this, he kept splaying his legs out, which, when I wasn't thinking, gave me a glance at his berries hanging out from that lace. His legs were pushed back together and I kept my eyes on the floor after that. At the end of the session, I cleaned up quickly, thanked him, collected my money, and left. At the end of it, he paid me 3 times my rate, which was nice. It was still an awkward session, though. In conclusion, I made money giving a normal massage to a guy wearing women's lingerie. I still don't know if it was a kink or his lifestyle. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories, or if you want some vibey music to put on in the background, check out easymode. If you like Am I the Genius, give Am I the Jerk a shot. Everything linked in the description.